Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wealthy Mindset. It's yours truly, Money Making Mitch. And as usual, guys, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research. Before we go on with today's video, as usual, I would like to ask you guys to hit that thumbs up. It will help not just the channel go a long way, but bring awareness to NEO. A lot of people are still forgetting to hit that right here. That's it. And, excuse me, guys, I will post the link for that Facebook Neo Bull group that our own subscribers Zahir and I started on Facebook, where we have created a beautiful atmosphere, a positive atmosphere for Neo investors to go and just indulge themselves. So what do I have for you guys? Well, I want to thank Money Making Melvin in Florida for this article. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It says, and we all know the US to end EV support. The Trump administration just said they're going to stop, I think, giving that incentives. Whenever you buy an EV here, you were getting some money back. I think it was like $7,000 or something like that. That's going to end. It says the US to end to EV support will significantly strengthen China's aggressive moves to dominate the EV industry and assure their eventual ownership of the market by 2030s. Notice the time frame, 2030s. It is also a time frame you should have in your mind when it comes to NEO in terms of seeing how mature the company is at that point. Because remember what the CEO said. He said, we went from a sapling to a little plant that will grow into a little tree, I believe, by this year. And then from there, we'll grow into a big tree and then into a small forest and then to a large forest. So it's a nice way of putting it to show you where we are in the growth stage so that you know not to sell too early and miss out like a lot of people do, and you will stay poor and die poor. It says the US pullback from the EV assures China's future dominance of this industry. And they are already around 2 years ahead of everyone but Tesla in terms of, well, that has just, this is a slightly older article. Now BYD is outselling Tesla as well. If this doesn't change, and we know Tesla will also lose market share this year, again, a report came out on that. If this doesn't change, a lot of countries will bleed jobs and automotive revenues. China's aggressive move to EV is increasingly moving Chinese EV makers ahead of the rest of the world, particularly the US. The US is attempting to cripple this by blocking Chinese sales into the US and using tariffs to make Chinese goods more expensive. This is likely to fail given, listen to this guys, this is likely to fail given the world's trend to EVs, the world trend. This is why you see China selling cars in the rest of the world, especially in ASEAN, the Asian countries, in the BRICS nations. We're going into Africa, the Middle East. We're building a factory. NEO is building a factory in Egypt this year. Did you guys forget that? And also we're going into Latin America, the Caribbean, England, so many countries. We're already in Norway. It says, this is likely to fail given the world's trend to EVs and China's economy, which rivals and may soon exceed that of the US. You heard that right. And I've been saying that on this channel for a while now. And I took a lot of heat for that. Part of how China got there is that the Chinese government aggressively supported their automotive market with financial help. Instead of waiting for them to fail, they're helping them so they can do research and development. And by buying up control of critical, this is very important, by buying up control of critical EV materials like rare earth materials. Yes, so we own that whole segment. While the EV wave was primarily started by the US company Tesla, the CEO's behavior has significantly weakened the Tesla brand, causing it to lag behind other firms it once led. China arguably now leads the world in EV manufacturing, much like Japan once did. And that's why I always say refer to history, allow history to be your best teacher. The US and the rest of the world should be increasing their competitive efforts against China But the US is pulling back from EVs, which will likely assure China's dominance in the future. So I ask you to put in the comment, where do you think you should be buying shares of which electric car company? Should it be NIO or should it be Tesla? NIO, the future of gas station, the future of chips, the future Skyos, phones and so much more, or dog poop, cat poop, rat poop, and smelly bat poop, guano, and buffalo poop, Tesla. Excuse me, guys. So, the result of Chinese EV dominance, there are good and bad aspects to China's ownership of the automotive market. On the good side, while China produces oil, its government has resisted oil arguments that disparage EVs. As a result, they only view oil a problem to be fixed. So they don't internally have as much pushback from the petrochemical industry on EV adoption and sales. Thus, they have a far more aggressive and successful EV conversion strategy. If you believe climate change is real, which I do, then this should be better for the world than the ongoing attempt to keep using and polluting with gas-powered vehicles. This could mitigate the causes of climate change even more quickly. Another advantage is that China is heavily regulated, meaning cars that are more consistent, easier to service, and safer to drive. Again, NIO, easier to service, easier to drive, safer to drive. Over time, across all their brands, different countries have different standards, which tends to result in far more difficulty than should be necessary in switching from one car brand to another. You should end up with fewer differing standards, and far less use, service, and support difficulties. So this is where even Cattle was saying the batteries need to be standardized, who, by the way, is the largest battery maker in the world and has now got into battery swapping, solidifying and showing that battery swapping is here to stay. But who is the leader? You guessed that right, NIO. However, the bad is pretty significant. First, countries that now have large automotive companies like the US will lose both that revenue and those jobs. The jobs have a loss alone would be catastrophic and include car dealers as well as car companies, as the trend with EVs is storefronts and ordering cars rather than buying them from dealers off lots. Much of Europe and Tesla use this model today. So you can buy it straight from the dealer, but that was coming. And some may say, but that is horrible, that is bad. Well, whenever there's a new invention, people have to be able to adapt. You see, Charles Darwin said, the survival is not for the fittest, but for the one who is susceptible to change. When I came to America, I came from a tropical country, but yet I had to climatize. I had to fit in with the culture, the food, the language, everything. If not, you will fall by the wayside. And we've seen this throughout history. EVs are also moving to autonomy, which makes them robots. Dell and others have highlighted robotics as the next critical large industry, likely more significant than the computer and automotive industries combined. And automotive industries combined, China is already challenging for leadership in robotics, owning the EV market, which will become the automotive market by the mid-2030s, should ensure China also dominates robotics. Yes! So even though Elon is telling you they're going to make AI robots that walk around and bring you drinks and cook your food and clean your house, China is also the leader in that. It also says, and the AI isn't that far behind. So the domino effect could be devastating to the rest of the world, but particularly the US, which also competing for robotic and AI dominance and currently leads with AI. So it's okay. Here in America, they can do farming. There's so many other job industries they can get into. So while the Chinese auto industry's dominance might benefit car owners, it would be devastating for some countries with a large automotive industry like the US. However, remember when Toyota came here, it was the same situation, but it made sure that the US automakers had to innovate and keep up. Competition encourages innovation. If not, we will stay in the dark ages in America when it comes to automotives. Belief in climate change is great enough for governments to ensure EVs eventually become the dominant form of personal travel. China is positioned to dominate that future market and is already approximately 2 years ahead of most of the rest of the world. Tesla would be the exception, but even Tesla is falling behind companies like BYD and Huawei. And we see that they're going to continue to fall. If the US and other countries compete with China, their competitiveness will not significantly increase. In that case, China's dominance is all but certain, which doesn't bode well for automotive companies located in countries other than China. So this paints a picture of where you should be investing your money. Some people will say, well, my God, shouldn't you invest in the country you live into? Yes, you should also do that. But that's why I'm going to be buying more rental properties. However, when it comes to the stock market, like the great Ray Dalio said, never you invest based on patriotism. If you do so, you're doing yourself an injustice. Do exactly what the senators in Congress and their friends and family and the big analysts who are lying what they're doing, do the same. And that way you will ensure that you also become a millionaire, because we are now hip to the game. So I hope you guys found this video on a Monday morning to be informational, inspirational, and motivational. If so, guys, do not forget to hit a thumbs up. It takes a lot of time to do these videos and the editing, and if you haven't yet subscribed, you might want to think about doing so, because in this channel we are waking up the middle class for the first time to get a major piece of the pie from the ground level up as to how the game is played on Wall Street. Like 50 Cent, we get rich or we die trying, guys.